Welcome back to Straight Facts. It's Tuesday, a slightly different lineup to normal. LB will be on with us tomorrow in Mo's absence. We've got Positive Dan joining us alongside United fan David, and with regular Aaron talks Arsenal as well. We've got loads we're going to go through today. We're talking about Pep. Is he going to quit? Is Pep going to quit Man City this season? And is the beginning of the end starting this weekend in the Manchester Derby? We're also talking about Canate to Madrid. Reports coming out of Spain this afternoon that is close. Also, a massive blow to Chelsea as they lose one of their new strikers for 2.5 months due to a hamstring injury. Plus, we're debating today Arsenal's ability to win trophies and titles on the show as well, which you know as well as I do, with these two esteemed gentlemen, is likely to get a little bit heated. Respectful, but heated. Viewers, do us a favor and hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Get yourselves subscribing to the channel as well and turn on the bell notifications. But good afternoon, gents. We all well and good?
Yes, Terry, what's happening, man? You good? Yeah, Dave, Aaron, how we doing?
Yeah, man. All good, brother. All good,
yes,
mate.
all good. Just in between clients, trying to get people fitter than Mason Mount and Luke Shaw, so not very difficult. But good to be here. Had to be here on Straight Facts. Good to be here.
Thank God that international break's over.
Whereabouts are you, David? Whereabouts are you? Location?
So I'm in Vauxhall, mate. I bounce around a few gyms, so I had to just do this on the go.
Because you're in London. You could get yourself arrested carrying those guns around in the street. You need to be very careful, bro. Be very, very careful.
Yeah.
Hopefully you got a license for those.
I'm trying.
Look, loads to start with today. I wanted to actually start with the situation that happened last night and into this morning. Big Ange is back in football. He's taken over from Nuno at Nottingham Forest. Aaron, I'm going to go to you first. What's your view on this? Because Nuno has given Forest their best season in 25 years. Yes, he's spoken out publicly about some of the issues he's had with the ownership, but he's now gone and they've changed direction completely and brought in Big Ange. 22 defeats in the Premier League after $500 million spent. Big Ange. Yes, they won a trophy last year as well. Are they going in the right direction? Do you agree with the behavior from Forest here?
Well, look, he wins a trophy every 2 years, mate, doesn't he? So, look, he might have to just sack this season off, but next season they've got a little saying coming, Nottingham Forest, didn't they, with big old Ange? But look, I think it's quite a poor appointment, if I'm being honest with you. I think Forest are quite a good team, quite tight at the back, and they're very good on the counter-attack. I don't know what Ange is going to do to that, to be fair. That high line, I'm sorry, he's just not for me, man. I don't think he's a very good Premier League manager, if I'm being totally honest with you. The way he sets out his game plan over a sustained 38 period of games, it just ain't good enough to be able to negotiate all different teams and the way they play. He's way too stubborn. I mean, you see that everyone knew what Tottenham Hotspur's problem was when he was there, and he just still refused to do it, refused to work on defensive set pieces. So, I mean, God knows what he's going to do at Nottingham Forest. I don't know how the fans are feeling, to be fair. I haven't really spoken to any of their fans, but I just think he's a defensive liability, isn't he? And he's going to open that team up. I mean, are you going to see good football at Forest? Probably. I mean, they play half decent football now on that count, and they've got good forwards. But yeah, I think he's going to come in and do a bit more damage, if I'm being totally honest with you. I don't know. Obviously, that's just my opinion, my humble opinion. But yeah, I think it's quite a poor appointment. I reckon there's better they probably could have gone for, to be honest. But look, it's one of them. You have to wait and see. Maybe that's the right club for him, and it's a match made in heaven. Essentially, you don't know, but I just think he's not tactically good enough to be where Nottingham Forest want to be, which is challenging for Champions League. That's why they're spending all the dough. That's where they want to try and get to. And I just think Ange's too naive over 38 games to get them there. I think it's a step backwards, if I'm being honest.
What are you saying about this, Dan? Do you think this is? I mean, the Forest fans. To answer your question first, Aaron, before we go to Dan, Forest fans seem by and large quite accepting, but I think Forest fans are kind of in this realm of, well, we better not call out this owner, because if he turns on us and pisses off, then who are we going to be left with? So I almost think this is element of people. I don't think Forest fans are happy, but I think they're too scared to bite the hand that feeds them. So I think they'll just toe the party line. It's a little bit yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir. I think they're all on. I think they're bowing down to him. A bit like a dictator in a way. But like, what do you think, Dan? Because they got into Europe. They were in that top 4 race for a large part of last season, but they play a very pragmatic way. They've now gone for a manager that in the league anyway is the complete opposite to a pragmatist. How do you think this is going to play out for Forest in the league?
Well, for starters, we play Forest this weekend. So, I mean, when I saw the news that he was sacked, I thought brilliant. When I saw Ange was coming, I thought even better. Because that squad, I was looking at the squad. As soon as the news came out, I was looking at the squad. Milinkovic at the back, and is it in Marulio, I think, right? They're great centre-backs, but they are old-fashioned centre-backs that sit back and they have bodies around them. And that's how they've played and how they've got success. I think the perfect candidate for that job was Jose Mourinho. Yeah. It was Jose Mourinho. The team's ready-made for him. They're in Europe, so Ange Postecoglou will get to defend his Europa League. I just think Jose Mourinho, a big club, he could have been like the second coming of Brian Clough. I can't understand why he's not gone for Jose Mourinho. To go for Ange Postecoglou, who's lost 22 games, when their styles are so different. This is why Manchester United, we're going to go into it later, I think, but why you can't keep changing managers, because you said this before, Terry, right? That you buy certain players for a certain style and then you change it and then you've got to buy different players and it just sort of gets muddled up. And I think that Forest team is built to play one way. Nuno's built it in that way. They played that way under Cooper beforehand, and that's how they're built. So I think it's a crazy decision to go and put Postecoglou. I mean, imagine their training sessions. They're going to go from probably just, doing like long ball games and probably playing like I remember famously Carragher saying how boring it was under Benitez. They were doing more like off the ball training and stuff like that. Suddenly he's going to be asking like centre backs to fly forward and all of that. So I mean, look, he did change his tactics for the first time ever in the Europa League final, and he won it. So maybe this weekend he says to them, stick to what you know with a little bit of a twist. But yeah, I think it's a strange decision, very strange decision.
Can I add something to that as well?
Just quickly, mate. Yeah.
So, like, I know Mourinho ain't by no means slow, but the way that Tottenham played under Ange Postecoglou there, and they had Van der Ven to get him out of jail because he's double rapid, the geezer. So when they're playing the high line, he used to get him out of jail, being able to catch up with his pace.
He must have done about 4 hamstrings doing that, innit?
Yeah, 100. Have they got the defenders there, like you said? Have they got the personnel to want to play like that? And then are they going to do another little rebuild to get Ange's sort of system, the players the way he plays? I just don't think they've got the pace at the back, to be able to play that. But we don't know if they're going to play a high line and all of that. To be fair, he might come in, like you said, and change his mind. But yeah, man, I agree with you as well. Though Marino, perfect.
He would have been perfect.
Yeah.
What do you think, David?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jose Mourinho would have been perfect, but it's pretty obvious why he's not picked him. Why did Nuno get sacked? Because he spoke up. And who's notorious for speaking up? The special one always speaks up. When he doesn't get what he wants, he will speak up. It's kind of why he got sacked at Man United. Remember, he did well. I think we finished second, and I think we got Fred and someone else that season, and he was like, this isn't enough. So I think Marinakis has looked at it and thought, you know what? As much as I want Jose, he's going to do exactly what Nuno done, and I don't want that. I don't want anyone speaking up against me. I want to control the narrative here. I want to control this club. I'm the boss. And that's why he's gone Ange Postecoglou. And like Aaron said, if he guarantees a trophy, he does what Jose Mourinho does also, right? In a way. And doesn't really speak up. So I think that's why he's gone for Postecoglou, if I'm honest.
It's funny because I agree with a lot of what you've all said. I think that, yes, Ange won a trophy last year, but let's be honest, if Onana weren't in goal for United,
Terry, what ifs? We can't go off what ifs. Facts are facts. This is straight facts. He won the trophy. That's it, bruv.
Well, in fairness,
you love a what if, mate.
Well, the show's called Straight Facts, actually. Me and Lee Gunner named the show this. Lee Gunner and me were the first to do it. And we called it Straight Facts for all the idiots that give opinions and call it facts. Actually, straight facts is a satirical name because we're only giving opinions. They're not straight facts. Yeah. So me and Lee Gallagher literally named the show that for that reason. It was like
I've taken it literally.
That was in an era of YouTube where somebody would say, "Oh, I think Nuno's overrated," and someone would go, "That's straight facts, bro." And I was like, "Well, it's an opinion," and I just did it to.
Yeah.
But no, listen, I know there's, and what I mean by that is that they won it, they deserved it. But when you look at the way PSG won the Champions League, they won it by force. They won it by being the best. Yes, you could say, what if Donnarumma wasn't in great form? What if this player wasn't scoring? But it was quality. Well, when you actually look, part of the reason you know Spurs got to where they got to is the Premier League teams are just that much stronger than a lot of the other sides.
The teams they played were shocking.
I don't think Forest's squad is as good as Tottenham's. I just think Tottenham in the Premier League were being completely misused by Big Ange. They lost 22 games because of it. You're going to see Thomas Frank this year. I think you'll almost see a switching of the two teams in terms of positionally this season. And I actually think going for someone like Ange, unless he adapts, as one of the previous comments I put up on screen said, they're at risk. They'll be at risk of going down if they play Big Ange's way, because they are going to expose themselves. I think you're spot on. They are going to expose these defenders. A lot of us were probably looking at the defenders last year saying, "Oh, I wouldn't mind a bit of him."
Yeah.
But that's when they're playing compact. They've got their fullbacks next to them, and midfielders dropping in. The strikers even come back, and they're in a compact unit that's hard to break down. Now
surely we have these conversations, right? But surely when he goes for an interview, they have these conversations also, right? So I'm sure, I mean, he might have lied in the interview, but I'm sure he's put something out there to say, this is my plan. I'm not going to be as open as I was at Spurs. I know what I'm dealing with. Surely.
This is where we see how good, really and truly. I don't think judging owners based on pumping money into a club, judging owners based on them being ruthless and putting the club first is part of it. I judge a club by its plan in the sense of Spurs were doing a very good job on the field of play on the Poch. Their biggest mistake was when they went from Poch to sort of the Jose's, Conte's, Nuno's. They went to these pragmatists. They then built a pragmatic team over 4 or 5 years of those managers. And then they went to Ange. And so, Ange's system, it's the opposite again. Man United's biggest issue in 13 years has been poor recruitment. But the poor recruitment has been because we keep changing directions and we don't know what we are. We're literally non-binary. We have no idea what we are. And Forest are going to go through something similar. But what can happen is someone like Marinakis, this is where we're going to judge him. Has he been hoodwinked by Big Ange? As Big Ange said, I'll do this. And this happened at Everton and it worked for a year. When Moisey left and Martinez went in, there's a famous interview. I think it was Bill Kenwright said, the reason we picked Roberto Martinez is every other manager that interviewed for the job, their presentation to us was, this is how I'll stop Everton getting relegated. Roberto Martinez turned up and said, this is how I'm going to get Everton into the Champions League. They went with that one. Oh yeah. They're very good for 1 year. Then they've been paying for it ever fucking since. Sometimes you've got to stick to your plan rather than having a manager lead you in a new direction down a dark path.
And
that's what happens. So
that's Dave's boy Martinez, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, listen, he's done well for Portugal, man. Listen, he's won the Nations League. Just beat who was it? Germany in the semi-final, Spain in the final. You can't knock the geezer.
In fairness, when he was at Wigan, I did think that he had an opportunity. I looked at him when he could be one of the next great managers. I did used to think that, but never worked out for him.
Mate, winning something with Portugal is great, mate. So don't knock the geezer. When's the last time England won something?
1966.
There you go. There you go. If he won something for England, you'd be talking about him very differently, mate. And winning something for Portugal, I would say, is harder than winning something for England. Just saying.
The mouth's as big as the biceps.
What's that, Aaron?
The mouth's as big as the biceps.
It is, mate. It is. Be prepared.
But yeah, interesting decision. Let's see what happens with Forest moving forward. But viewers, give us your thoughts, give us your opinions in the comment section below. Speaking of David, obviously this weekend it's the Manchester Derby. United go to the Etihad. Who, in your opinion, is going to come out on top?
We're disastrous, man. We are disastrous. Man City will beat us convincingly. We can't string 5 passes together. Our manager can't watch a penalty in the last minute. It's all a mess. I'll tell you what our manager's good for. He's good. He's good at cleaning. He's done an excellent job. You know, you hire someone to do a nice spring clean of your house. In this occasion, it's a summer clean he's done. He's been fantastic at that. But as a coach, he's absolutely shocking. It's a matter of time before this geezer is gone. And I'm glad Marinakis didn't get Jose because he's waiting to take over at Manchester United again. Remember Ancelotti when he was at Everton? We all thought he was finished. Now we all call him Don Carlo. Before you know it, Jose will also have the cigar in his mouth and bring United back to top 10.
You think Jose's coming back to Man United?
I think Jose could do an excellent job at Man United, better than what the Wally we've got now.
Do you reckon it's a steady the ship signing for Mourinho rather than take you back to the glory days? He could just get line a little bit.
It is steady the ship. You are completely right, because our ship is sinking faster than the Titanic, mate. And Jack and Rose won't be able to get off this one. I'm telling you, this is going straight down. We're in trouble. I know Terry doesn't agree, and Terry Defo says a lot of what ifs. What if we converted our chances? What if we, scored some of these goals? I don't go with what ifs. We look terrible, in my opinion. And all these stats, I think we've got the most shots in the league. Half of them hit the corner flag. I think we've got the most crosses, accurate crosses in the league, whatever the hell that means. I ain't seen anyone score from a header, really. I mean, we look terrible. These what ifs kill me. We look terrible. And our manager looks even worse.
Those stats have to be encouraging, though, Dave, because we've discussed this before on our show. But surely them stats have to be encouraging.
They are encouraging, and I couldn't believe them when I saw them. I could not believe them when I saw them. But I still go off of, what am I looking at? The eye test surely means something. I know I wear glasses, but it surely does mean something. And what I see is we're struggling to beat Grimsby. We're struggling to beat Burnley. Arsenal, everyone was praising our performance. It's the opening game of the season, for goodness sake, and we played 7 midfielders practically. Anyway, I'm off on a rant again. Sorry, guys. I'm just saying we'll lose to City. After that, we have Chelsea, I believe. We'll struggle there. Then we've got Brentford. That's a struggle. Then we've got Sunderland. There's maybe 3 points. Then we've got Liverpool. So 3 points plus the 4 we already have in 8 games. Do some quick maths, yeah? Help me out. That's 7 points in 8 games. Where would we be, Terry? Definitely in the relegation zone once again. We're banging trouble, bruv.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. You got to start getting the points. There comes a time when you can go, oh, yeah, all the stats are encouraging, all this and all of that, but you need the points. There comes a time where stats are just so meh, who cares? Because you're not getting the main stat, and that's the scoreline. You need the
Thank you.
You need the points. Yeah, obviously, I do understand and appreciate the stats do sort of bode in your favour, but man, you need to turn them into victories. Otherwise, like you said, you find yourself very, very quickly slipping back at the bottom. And as soon as you're back lingering down there, the players lose interest. They know it's another waste of season.
I've said this on this show before. I've said this on this show before. Momentum goes both ways, yeah? Leicester won the league based on momentum. Manchester United could easily get relegated based on this momentum that we're going in direction we're going in. And I'm very worried. And after the Grimsby game, he was dejected. He was done. He looked like he needed an arm around him. Don't worry, mate. You've still got this. Next thing you know, he says, it comes out in a press conference, I want to be here 20 years. I'm sorry, you can't yo-yo like this. You're meant to be the captain of the ship. That's the analogy we've just used, yeah? This is why. How can the captain be like, shall we drown? Shall we not?
When did he yo-yo?
Basically, after the Grimsby game, he did an interview and you saw it. They were like, how are you feeling? He goes, look, we've got one more game against Burnley and we'll have a discussion thereafter. We all thought he was going to resign. You do remember that, yeah? Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, he did a press conference and he was like, sometimes I don't want to be here and I dislike my players. Other times I want to be here for 20 years. It's very honest. And I understand what you said before, Terry, that human element does gravitate me towards him sometimes. But it's too honest. It's too honest. The players will look up to this guy. Players will look up to this guy and say, this guy's lost it. He looks about 10 years older already. Don't he look about 10 years older already?
Do you know what I find really interesting? I'm not putting this on you because you weren't on the shows, the amount of people that have wanted previous managers out for not being honest enough and not telling the truth and not speaking how they feel. I just, that's why I laughed. It wasn't at what you were saying directly. The thing is, for me though, I do think that what ifs have to be discussed, and that's only because of how I operate as an individual. So
Fine, yeah.
I'm starting to lose weight at the moment. You know, what if I don't keep eating healthily? Then the training program you give me isn't going to work, is it? Is your training program shit, David? You're a really good personal trainer. Is your training program shit? If I eat McDonald's every night after doing your training, will I be as good as if I ate healthily?
Just for whoever's watching, I'm fantastic at my job, and maybe I can help you. But the honest truth is no, you can't out-train a bad diet. Correct.
So the reason I use that as an example is I think when we're talking about situations and we're looking to do short format content, Sky Sports, you know, the overlap, all that pony stuff that's just like soundbitey. Yep, you're right. If buts and maybes mean nothing, just give your opinion. But longer format, you have to look at things from this perspective. As much as when people talk about momentum and direction, people like to pick and choose when you're talking momentum. Because if we look at this season, every Premier League game, the momentum is moving forward. No points, 1 point, 3 points. But I think that's too short term. Even if we beat City, because one of the questions I was going to ask is because this is one of the questions I had to ask you guys, but I'll answer it myself and then throw it out to yourselves. I said that we know that defeat would push Amorim closer to the exit, at least in the eyes of fans. But what would a win mean instead? And this is why I look at these circumstances, because United have performed very, very well in lots of games against fellow Big Six sides under Ruben Amorim. Man City are also not playing well. Man City have also only won, LB told us this last week, I think it's 5 of the last 21 games against Big Six opponents, and none of the last 2 against 3 against Manchester United. So I don't go into this game because our performances have been, for me, decent. And we're not creating a lot from large, long format build-up play. It's very direct. But that is how Ruben plays. So that tells me that they're learning. We will get chances to... It's not working if you don't want that kind of play, but that's how he tries to play. The same as if you get your daddy back, if Jose comes back, right?
My daddy, I love it.
If Daddy Jose comes back, what you'll find is you're fine with the pragmatism that comes with it. I'm actually okay with it. Other people will suddenly not like it because they want a different style of football again. So Ruben's getting the team to create opportunities the way in which his teams create opportunities. I agree with that. Yeah. So for me, we are going to get... I believe we'll get chances against City to score goals and win the game. Now, if they're not taken, the manager's going to be criticised for that. But I'm also... The thing for me with the if, buts and maybes, what I won't do is ignore the criticism of the players that have missed these chances as well. And I think for me, there's always got to be a fairness in this. So, but let me ask you that question back, and I want to go to Dan on this. If we beat City, what does that do for Amorim in your view of him?
Is that Dan? That's you, Dan, I think.
No, I'll go to you first, and I'll speak to Dan. Because you go to me. You know, if we win 2 on the bounce, we beat City in this game. Like, what does that do for you, mindset-wise, towards the manager?
As people can tell, I'm a very emotional fan, right? So that means my emotions I'll be very happy. But facts are the facts. We're on straight facts. We haven't won 2 games in a row under this manager in the Premier League. So until Matey Boy from United Strand cuts his hair, I won't be too invested in the fact that we're heading in the right direction. The manager needs to win 2-3 games in a row. Surely that's a bare minimum as Manchester United manager.
I understand that, and that's why I'm asking the question, because I'm just trying to understand. This is why if buts and maybes are important. There must be something that the team and Amorim can do for you to go, okay, the next defeat is like for the next defeat to not knock you off course. Like, what would that take?
See all these stats that we read about 55 shots and accurate crosses and our long balls. We got them. If we beat City 2-0, scoring our chances and from that style of play, you start to think, hang on a minute, this might be heading in the right direction. Maybe those stats were accurate and it was just a case of us not taking our chances. But I wouldn't put my house on it, Terry. I would not. The only positive I've got is that this manager has finally got rid of Onana. And believe it or not, maybe that that poison, that curse that was in this changing room, it was the worst decision to get this goalkeeper. I know we're going slightly off topic here, but
No, it's fine.
it does matter, right? I mean, Ten Hag persuaded us that getting this man would help us play out from the back, help us play Ajax-style football, help us play possession-based football. It never happened. So I've lost trust in managers. I don't back managers blindly anymore. I used to. And unfortunately for Amorim, I'm being very harsh on him because I just don't back it blindly until I see results. If we beat Man City, I'll be happy, but I won't be convinced is what I'm saying. I need to see 2 to 3 games with his style of play working for me to feel like, oh, wait, it's happening, guys. That's where I'm at.
I understand that. I look at it this way. You shouldn't blindly back anything to a certain degree. This is where I think where me and you see it differently. My faith hasn't really been lost so much in them. I know I made a bit of a jokey comment. I've lost faith in Amorim. My next words were, if people think I was serious on that, is I've lost faith in the next manager as well. Like it was me just being frustrated. For me, you mentioned something that's so important that we shouldn't forget. Ten Hag was buying players that were designed for the system that we expected him to implement. But then he told us halfway through his second season that he's never going to try to implement that season.
He bottled it. Yeah,
so
he did.
If we're buying players for Ruben's system, but Ruben isn't trying to implement his system, I'm worried. I don't actually care whether we go for a Jose style, a Nuno style, a Klopp style. I don't care what we pick. We just have to stick to it. And this is where I look at the owners more than the manager. If Ruben started to yield and I'm talking dramatically change, I'd actually be in his ear again. What are you doing? We're buying players for the way you told us you were going to play. Now you're changing again. That for me is more problematic. But end result being the results from the manager are not good enough. But the leadership of this club has got to make that operate in the right way. Dan, how do you see the game going? Back to the football for a moment. How do you see this match against City going? Because there are a lot of conversations about how bad City look and how these next couple of games could be the beginning of the end for Pep Guardiola. If United do go there and beat them there like they did last season under Ruben Amorim, they then go away to Arsenal. How do you see the Manchester derby going in your view, Dan?
It is a tough one. I would always just straight away, I would say, well, it's going to be a straightforward Manchester City win, especially at home. But I do think United can cause them problems. I think City, they're there to be got at this season. Me and Aaron spoke about before the season started about the transfers and stuff, right? And, we disagreed on how strong it made them. I just think the defense is there to be got at. And one shining light, and I was saying it to Dave and I'll show the other day, is Mbeumo. He looks, Cunha's look good, but without the end product. And Mbeumo now is starting to score goals. And I think he could be a key player this weekend against Manchester City, up against their defense. I think he will definitely cause them problems. And I fancy Manchester United to score. So I'm going to go for a draw. In that game, I'm going to go for a draw, but I do feel Man United could cause them problems. Now, regarding Ruben Amorim, I think that game against Burnley was a humongous win. I think that win against Burnley was, I know it's only Burnley, but to get that win, 97th minute, when I saw it pop up on my phone, 97th minute, I said, wow, this is big for Manchester United, because if they didn't win that, if you lost to Grimsby, right? If you lost to Grimsby and then you couldn't beat Burnley at home, team that's just been promoted, maybe there would have been no way back, right? The fans, it would have been as toxic as hell. No one would have been looking forward to this game. No one, no Man United fan. And even the away fans going there would have been there and they wouldn't have been in voice, and that can affect players, right? And just the whole aura of the club would have been shot to bits. So I think that win, albeit just against Burnley, was a massive win. If he can get a result, if he could win that game, for me, that would be humongous. Like you said, Dave, it'd be the first time he'd won 2 games in a row. And suddenly United's season has gone from starting really, really bad to starting, things would really be looking up. If you can win that derby away at Man City, that would show that he's got his tactics spot on. And I think it'd be a massive win for Man United. It really would.
Do you know what's really funny, though? And this is why last season plays into all of our minds, and I understand it. At the same time, this is why we all do it as fans. We're all fickle in this way. You let the emotions of the moment get to you. Because I was on this website where you can put in score predictions, and I just did it for the next 2 or 3 weeks. And it's like, if we were to beat, I have a train of thought. I think if we lose to City, I think we lose to Chelsea. I think if we beat City, I think we can beat Chelsea at home. Because I do think there is Man United's players are as fragile as our fans. And we are all fragile in the sense of, in these games, the reason why the stats are important to me is because I think they tell you a picture. What paints a completely different picture has been our clinical edge and then how we've reacted to adversity in the game. And you win 2 on the bounce. I don't think people understand outside of Man United the relief that will give the manager, the players, and the fans. It means when Chelsea arrive, as brilliant as Chelsea look, Chelsea arrive and there'll be a different buoyant feeling that, okay, we're past the milestone as an example. And I think that this is what this Man United team is lacking so much confidence when things go wrong in a match, as an example. And part of that is on the manager, but I also look at the players as well, because we consistently blame managers at our club, and we've changed fucking 8 of the bastards, and yet it's actually got worse each time, which tells me they're not the only key factor in this. And this leads to a question from Lou for you, David. Who do you want to see in the net? Who do you want to see in the net for the City game?
It's got to be Mr. Lemon, isn't it? Lammens, you know?
Lemon.
Yeah, all right. I was mugging him off a little bit just because I'm underwhelmed by that signing, I'll be honest. But it's just a reminder of how far Man United have fallen. I said this on a video the other day. The best available goalkeeper went to Man City, and the best available striker went to Liverpool. It shows how far we have fallen, but that's where we're at. We were never going to get those players, right? It's got to be Le Mans. It's got to be. And let's hope he can catch a ball. That's all we need. A fella that can catch a ball and make saves that we can't make. Because I'll tell you something, we can punch it. All of us here could probably look like how Onana looked in that goal, and Bayern here. So it's got to be Le Mans in goal. If he doesn't start with him, you know already, I'm going to go off on one in the chat. It's got to be him. You've just spent nearly 20 million on him. Don't you agree that he'll start? You don't think he'll start, do you?
My view is you got to look at the briefings. The briefings have, I would personally start him, but the briefings, and I think there is a reason for this. But the reason is you, David. You're the reason they're doing this. You're to blame.
I'm sure it is.
You and every United fan like you. You see, and listen, I don't blame you, but you see this. Got to go and goal, and he's got to be. I hope he catches the ball like this, right? So what we've done the whole summer is we've put out this notion that we didn't really want a new goalkeeper. I've never believed it. I think we did that because we weren't sure who we were going to decide to go. I think we were deliberating, and we nearly went and got Emi Martinez. We looked at Donnarumma. Oh, by the way, Donnarumma punched the ball into his own net last night. I'm so glad he wasn't a Man United goalkeeper because the same thing would be happening. But no one even realized he did that last night. Maybe unless you're a City fan or if you watched that game. But because if that was Donnarumma was a Man United goalkeeper now and not City, did you realize every news outlet in the world would be running that story? And this is exactly it. I think United are saying that he's coming in as a young keeper to challenge. I think it might take 2 or 3 games before we give him a chance. Because what will happen is, this is the reason. Let me tell you why we'll do it. Because of that reaction.
Go for it.
If he comes in, Nuno number 1, let's go, and he makes a mistake, it'll be, fuck's sake, he's just as bad. Fuck him off. Shit. If he goes 2 or 3 games and the manager's saying, look, we brought him in as a backup, a young player to develop, and then he gets a start, the mood is, whatever happens, mate, we know you're a kid. We know you're on the up and up. Look at Aiden Heaven when he came in. Turns out he was a first-team buy. None of us knew it. Yeah. It was sold as we bought a youngster. When he came into that team with the injuries, all of us went, whatever happens, mate, we don't care. You're young. You're not a main player. And we're like, bloody, look how good he is. Imagine we sold it and we did a fanfare and said, he's one of the best young centre-backs in the country and we bought him to be a star. The expectation is different. And I get where you're coming from, but we are so broken as a club. Look at just look at the physical reaction to needing it to work. Putting that all on a young, very talented, by the way, but young goalkeeper. I think they're going to bleed him in slowly to try and ease that pressure. Personally,
Terry, it's his job. It is his job. If I came here today and I didn't perform and I didn't put on a good show, and that might be the case, right? You wouldn't have me back.
Oh, you've been on 3 or 4 times now. You've done all right.
Yeah. But you get my point. There's got to be listen, we've paid 18 million for you.
No,
I don't know. What's all this babysitting?
I disagree. No, I disagree. Football. There was a guy that put a viral video out a few weeks ago. Do you know what? I think I've got it on here. We'll play. This wasn't actually about a Man United player. Let's play this video. You boys are all old like me. Just listen to it.
On YouTube, on TikTok, Sky Sports, fan commentary, all of it. Like, do you know that you're the ones that are in charge? Because so few of you act like it. Here's what I mean. You'll see people like, oh my God, listen to whether we talk about football now. And then 2 minutes later, they will talk about football in that exact manner. I'm seeing so many videos that are like Florian Wirtz fraud watch after 3 games. First 2 didn't sparkle. Third, 20-minute cameo. Suddenly he's a flop, apparently, to people online. And the same people making videos doing that are also the same ones who eventually do videos going, why are we judging players too soon? There'll be people in the same video going, why are we judging players too soon? Whilst also doing hit and miss on signings that haven't even kicked a ball yet. When we were younger, there were these golden rules, right? A new player came into the league. You gave them time. It's going to take time for them to settle. You didn't expect them to hit the ground running because nobody ever really did. In Europe, if your team didn't win, you wanted the team of your nations to win, except for your rivals. So as a Liverpool fan, I wanted English teams to win the Champions League, except for Man United. If Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, Man City were up there, I'm like, yeah, I want to see them win. But that's gone. That's been killed off by, like, the banter economy. And the excuse I always hear is like, oh, it's just the times we live in. You set the times we live in. You're in charge.
So what he's talking about, the rivalry thing, I kind of agree with. I didn't mind watching. None of us probably cared that West Ham won the Conference League because none of us see them as rivals. But
no. I can't agree with that part though. There's no way I'd ever want Man United to win the Champions League, or Chelsea, or Liverpool, or Tottenham. That's because they're your rivals. Yeah. You're right. West Ham.
But they're one London rival. But the point he's saying is, I do think we've gone into this.
All the rest of it, I agree. 100% agree.
I look at it and I want Lammens to do what I want Lammens to start. So I want him to start. But equally, where I'm fearful is if something does go slightly wrong, it's just going to be scorched earth. And I don't think that makes our club better. Do you want to know why I don't think it makes our club better? The angrier our fans, maybe there's no correlation. The angrier and less patient our fans have become, the worse we've got as a football club. So behaving that way hasn't made us any better because people have been screaming into their cameras for 9 years and we're getting worse. So my view is, why can't we, objectively, why can't we just be a bit more relaxed? He's 23.
He was talking a bunch of waffle. That's what he was doing. What does he want us to all do? Sit down and sing Kumbaya? Listen, These guys are getting paid a whole bunch of crazy money, right? And listen, AFTV, for example, was mega toxic, but Arteta's turned that around. We can't blame the fans for the club not performing. Surely not. And listen, Wirtz, he hasn't looked great. And how much did he come for? Of course there's going to be.
Why are you moaning then?
There's 3 games in though, man.
If fans moaning doesn't make... If fans moaning has no impact on making it worse, then fans having high standards and moaning can't make it better either. So what's the point of any of this?
It makes me feel better.
So it's just for you?
It's just for me. I moan for me, and if someone likes listening to it, fantastic.
So, Aaron, do you agree with that? Do you agree that having high standards doesn't help your club, doesn't help Arsenal at all? You think it's just you making yourself feel better? Do you agree with David?
Well, I like his honesty. I can see where he's coming from as well, but look, I don't know why having high standards would also mean that that would be damaging for the club. I don't really sort of get that. I mean, if you sit there and think about it, if I had no standards for my football club and no one did, everyone would just be so comfortable. It's like in business, they'll come on. You're a businessman. You've done loads of bits. If you skate along with anything and not really caring and have a blasé attitude, you never reach the top. You have to have some degree of standard, some degree of that you hold it to. Arsenal Football Club are a massive football club, same as Manchester United. So I totally disagree, really, that if you're having high standards for your football club, that it's not going to help it. If that's what you were saying, I completely disagree.
He's saying it damages it. He's saying it
damages
it.
I'm asking that reason because where I would say I understand where you're coming from is this. Dennis Bergkamp didn't join Arsenal and hit the ground running, but your fans back then, because I lived it, gave him time. They gave him time to settle. Yep. They weren't losing their minds. That was when Arsenal were in and around the greatest they've ever been as a football club. So at a point where your standards were at their highest, you gave players time. Yet when a team's at a really low point like Man United, and it's going to take years to fix us, we don't want to give anybody any time. I'm not saying I actually don't agree with either point I made as a question. I think that having standards is important and helps, but I think having ridiculous standards that are unrealistic, and unattainable can be damaging. I think losing our minds with a new signing because they don't hit the ground running straight away, I think it goes against what we've witnessed in football for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 decades. And I think that when you do that and you create so like you said in business, it's okay to have business. So if you guys come and work for the Football Terrace, great. But if I start saying I need 5 million views from each of you each month, you're like, hang on a minute, Terry, you don't even get 5 million views. Well, I don't care. That's a standard. You're being set up to fail. And I think it's about being fair. If great players like Bergkamp took time to settle, if great players like Vidic and Evra took time to settle, not everyone's going to do what Rooney did and score a hat-trick on their first game.
There's got to be context, though, Terry. Sorry to interrupt, yeah?
Exactly, there's got to be context.
Since 2020, which one of our signings have been good? Apart from one man, it was his birthday yesterday, so happy birthday, Bruno Fernandes.
Yes.
Apart from him, all of our signings have failed. So pardon me if when a geezer signs, I'm a bit like this.
But I don't think Ahmad and Lenny Yoro have failed.
I mean, they haven't pulled up any trees just yet. I think they've been very good for us, but at the same time, I can't judge. Again, let's just take this outside of football. Imagine I've had 4 personal trainers that haven't been very good. Would it be okay for me to put unrealistic expectations on you because you're the next in line that I employ? I would show you the first day that all the others that you had are nothing like me. And that levels above. That's what I would do. Okay, but at the same time, I have to give you a realistic level of expectation. What I don't think is right as fans is us take out 5 years of frustration on a brand new signing who's done nothing wrong to us. I think we should be more encouraging. Yes, if he makes a mistake, criticize it. No one's saying sit in a circle and sing Kumbaya at Old Trafford. But then, like you said, there's a happy medium in this. Like maybe he will show you, but if he does make a mistake, it's the goalie you just said, Donnarumma, best available, he just punched the ball into the back of his net. Yeah, but he's earned his stripes, hasn't he? Go on, Aaron, sorry.
So what you're saying, though, Tel, is as long as if you're being realistic, rather, when I get it out, as long as you're being realistic, then high standards are absolutely fine. And that's basically what you're saying.
Well, I think is your standards have got. I think when any standard, we all do this. Your standards and your views have got to stand up against scrutiny, and they have to have acid tests put against them. So, for instance, I'd done a show once, and I don't quite remember who this was with, but somebody stated that I think it might have been Lee Gunner. Lee Gunner stated that Burnley, Luton, and I think it may have been somebody else within the league at that time, Brighton, are unambitious because they don't spend the same amount of money on salaries and transfers as Man City. So for me, that was his standard. But I don't think he's standard.
Yeah.
He's standard. So if you're setting that standard, like I don't call any club ambitious that doesn't match what City do. Again, I think that's a standard that's once you scrutinize it and once you take some examples and look at other clubs, you go, that doesn't hold up. That doesn't hold true. Because I don't think all football clubs are a monolith. I don't think all players are a monolith. I actually agree that I'd have more expectations on Donnarumma coming in than I would a younger goalkeeper like Lammens, because they're coming in different circumstances and scenarios. The reason why I think the football club might protect the goalkeeper for a bit is they can see how fragile the fan base is at the moment, and they might want to protect him for that. Great manager who did that for many, many years at Liverpool was Klopp. Klopp wouldn't, especially when the fans were desperate for a certain player, Van Dijk went straight in. But Fabinho, along with many others, it was, we're going to bleed you in over 3 or 4 months because that's a better way of doing it. So what I'm not going to do is lose my mind game week 1, game week 2, if he isn't in and looking like peak Peter Schmeichel, that I will be patient with because I think he deserves it. That doesn't mean if he makes loads and loads and loads of mistakes, I won't go, oh, that was bad. Like, I think there is a balance in those two things.
Would you have less patience if he was in season 3, season 4, season 5, season 6 doing the same thing? You would naturally have less patience for the same thing the further you are into something, 100%.
Well, of course. I mean, Man United fans were far more angry with, well, maybe not even angry. The apathy was there and that we were over it. But at the time Onana made those mistakes against Grimsby, we were far more angry and done with him than we were the first one he made in the Champions League, because it's gone on for 2 years. The same as I understand you as an Arsenal fan. You don't think, you think Arteta's taken you as far as he can. So your tolerance levels for him, for you not winning games is lower now than it maybe was a few years ago. Not that you ever had any tolerance. You never thought he was good enough. So, but I suppose your patience, I get that. Your patience wears thin. I just feel when it comes to standards that are being put out there, I think we have to scrutinize them. Not that they're wrong, but we have to see if they actually stack up and if they actually work? Is there any precedence of, big teams doing this in the past, big managers doing that in the past? Because I've seen some Arsenal fans set standards to win and achieve things that their clubs never achieved before, and their wording is, this is how high the standards used to be. And I'm like, well, they weren't, because you weren't achieving that under Wenger and you were happy. So why? So it's just about having that conversation. So I think we all do that. We're all guilty of it.
We had a team good enough, though. To be fair, we had back then, if you want to say the Champions League, I'm presuming you're referencing, we did have a team back then good enough that should have won it, really. So
I think that's another thing that everyone does with England, the golden era, right? And everyone says England should have won it. And then you go back and look at Brazil's team, Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, Rivaldo, like 3 Ballon d'Or winners. You go and look at Italy's team, Del Piero, Cannavaro, Totti, and France's team, Zidane, Thierry Henry, and you think, England's golden era, Portugal, knocked them out.
Yeah.
So
but I think what he's saying,
no one is entitled to just win the Premier League or win the Champions League.
But wasn't that your best chance to win it? Wasn't that your best chance to win it with that team?
The year we went unbeaten was our best time to win it. The year we went unbeaten was the best time to win it. When we went out of the quarterfinals to Chelsea, that was a better chance. Because the final, 2004, the year we went unbeaten, because the final was Monaco and Porto. When there might be no Jose Mourinho, mate. Yeah,
Wayne
that
Bridge.
was the best time for us to win it. Yeah, Wayne Bridge, exactly. But back on what you lot were saying, I have to agree with Terry to a certain extent, because honestly, it's social media and it's the day and age we live in, right? And it winds me up. Haaland could score 20 goals in a row, then not score for 3 games, and you'll hear people on social media going, he's lost
League
it.
One player.
League
One player.
Yeah. Exactly. Sky Sports, Roy Keane's even jumping on it, calling him a League 2 player. That's just stupid. What you watch straight away, Salah, it will happen with Salah. He might not score 3 or 4 games in a row. Salah's done. Salah's finished.
He's washed.
He's washed. And it winds me up. Like, it's straight away, even like with Arsenal not starting Eze. I said, I guarantee you, Isak, and he started for Sweden. I bet you he doesn't start this weekend for Liverpool. You've
been saying this.
No, but listen, how comes most managers, rarely do they throw them in, only when they've had a full pre-season. Everyone said Eze has to start, and I wanted him to start against Liverpool, right? But he's had about 3 or 4 training sessions. So Arteta's the man watching training. So, you know what I mean? I'm going to back him and go with what he wants.
Dan, let me ask you, do you think Lammens should start for Man United against City?
Mate, you know what? Yeah, it's him or that other fellow because that other fellow's so bad. Do you know who I've been saying?
Don't say Heaton.
Yeah, Heaton. Don't say Heaton. I think Heaton's a pair of safe hands to be fair.
What I'm saying is, be honest here. If I ask you a question, can Man United afford to start Bayern against Man City?
No, you can't afford to start him.
There you go. End of story, guys. Surely.
But I don't think it is end of story. I think it's open-ended. Because let's say we start him and it goes wrong, and then fans like yourself lose it with him, the young lad loses confidence and he never recovers. Versus, imagine this 2 sliding doors moment here. This is why it isn't end of story. What if he gets bled in after a couple of games, does well, gets better and better and better, and is brilliant? For instance, if he doesn't start for 2 or 3 games and then gets bled in and ends up being a really good goalkeeper, will it make you in future, David, more patient with other players? That's the question.
For sure. Of course it does. But the other side of what you've just said, what if he does start, comes and claims the ball, the first corner that comes in, makes 5-6 saves, right? Saves a penalty.
I would do it.
His distribution, he puts Mbumo through and we win the game, right? Imagine how we're going to feel then. So it goes both ways, man.
No, I agree with you. But again, I can see it, but I'm not going to lose my mind if he makes a mistake.
I see your point. I will. Yeah.
Because that's why I'm happy with either. I'm happy with either because I'm relaxed about it. You're not because you want results and you want them today, and I get it. But
I'm just worried. I'm worried.
And I get you're worried. I'm worried too, Bob. I hear you. Aaron, you said something that was so interesting to me, and I think it's maybe the most honest. I'm not saying other things you've said are not honest, but I think this is the most honest thing you've ever said about standards weren't higher back then, even though you were happy, even though you weren't achieving the standards that are being set now. And you said something, you said, because you could have won it. And this is why I like to challenge people's standards, not because I think overly they're wrong. I don't. It's understanding people. Because I agree with you wholeheartedly. I hear a lot of people now on. I think there's a little bit of manosphere stuff, Andrew Tate wannabes around that sort of do the whole. I've got the high standards because it shows I'm a man. It shows my balls work. It shows I've got testosterone. Like nothing. Like my kid's picture isn't Picasso level. I'm gonna slap him up, metaphorically speaking. There's a lot of men like that now online. You must have come across them. Like everything's got to be perfect, or I'm not a man. But this is how I know they're all chatting crap. Because when we were all younger, both of us guys can relate to this. And I must say younger, even teenagers, young adults. We had loads of seasons where our teams didn't win the Premier League or Champions League. But what did we go into the summer saying? So, all right, boys, we'll go again next year because we knew how good our clubs were. We didn't need to win it every year to be completely happy and satisfied.
Because we shared the Premier League from 97 to 2000. We shared it.
United, our fans never lost their minds like that because we knew we were good enough. Gooners, I grew up around a lot of Arsenal fans growing up in London. None of them were like, where are our standards when they went a year or two without winning the league? It was, we'll get you next year because you believed your team could do it. And I think a lot of the time
we had won it though. It's because we had won it. Had Arteta won it 2 seasons ago, people wouldn't be the way they are. So I totally get that.
I do agree with you. So for me, it isn't about the standards. It's just about people want to win or feel like they can win. Which is why, Aaron, I've said this to you before. If Arteta went tomorrow and you got a manager in that you liked and respected and you believe would make you win this year, next year, I believe your standards wouldn't change, but your tolerance level to pushing them would adapt. And I think most football fans are like that. And this is what you'll see happen, by the way, at Arsenal. And it will happen with David here. My man David, it will happen with him. If Jose comes back in, we're not quite winning, but he likes what he's seeing, it will be, but the underlying numbers and the stats, we had the chances. We're going to get there. Don't worry. If Diego Simeone, who's your main? Who's the guy you want the most?
I'd like him. I think
Simeone.
us as a
If
team,
Simeone comes in, right? If Simeone comes in and you get 93 points and come second, you in the summer will be, listen, I know we didn't win the league, but I believe next year because you believe in him. And I think sometimes it isn't so much about our standards. It's about, do we believe in that manager? Because we all have done this and will do this. There's certain players I like, players you dislike. So when you like a player, you are far more lenient with them. I don't believe anybody 100% where they're like, no, I have these standards for every team, every manager, every player, every minute of every day. The reason I don't believe it is because I watch their content or I've watched them for many, many years. And I'm like, I've seen you behave differently to this when different managers were in charge or different strikers were up front. Man United especially. The way some fans treated Pogba versus Bruno and vice versa demonstrated that they had different standards for different players based on who they like. So I just think the standards argument is hard to argue with when someone says, well, I want to win trophies. What's wrong with that? Nothing. But
that
I
is
think
a normal human trait.
I do think you think differently.
That is a normal human trait, right? It is. But I'll guarantee you, if Simeone was there 3-4 seasons, finishing bridesmaid every single year, Aaron would lose patience with him.
No,
also.
I agree with that as well. That is where I agree. And like, I'm someone that's sympathetic with the Arteta situation because I think he helped build them. And again, I don't like. It's because of Fergie. I can't remove the rebuild context. I can't do it. Back to a point where in my debates this week with City fans over Pep versus Fergie, I've had City fans telling me United weren't even that bad when Fergie took over. I won't be gaslit. I won't be lied to about the state of my club. You came fourth the year before. You have no idea what was going on at my club. We were awful. Overall, we were awful. So for me, I think it's wrong to remove the context of what Arteta inherited. They had to strip you back to get you to this point. But I do believe the last 2 seasons, especially what he has or hasn't won, he should be judged on. And that is where I agree. And I think where the conversation becomes hard is people always like to remove context to push their side of the agenda on both sides, by the way. Both sides like to do this. And it stops the conversation from being honest a lot of the times for me. He helped build them. I don't know what you talk about. Who? Fergie? Yeah, Fergie did help build Man United. Yeah, so people keep lying that he didn't. But building a club isn't the main aim of football. Yeah, no one ever said it was. No one ever said it was on this show. It isn't. But if you don't build it, you can't win anything. You don't win. Yeah. You can't win something from nothing. This is, you know what I mean? It's a little bit chicken and egg. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah. I
would love someone to come in and do what Arteta's done at Arsenal, get us to that point, and then get another manager to get us over the line. I take what Arteta's done at Arsenal right now at Man United.
For how many years? For how many years?
No. Hold on, Aaron. I agree with you. Where Arteta needs to win it this year. He needs to win a major trophy this year. I think the only thing that saves him this year is if he does a Carabao Cup double and an FA Cup double and really pushes the Premier League till the final day, right? Other than that, I think he's bang in trouble. However, what I'm saying is, from a Man United fan, would I take a manager that brings us back to second consistently? Of course I would right now. Of course I would right now. And then where would I go from there? I'd get an Enrique. I'd get someone like that to just get us over the line. That's where I'm at.
And that's what's probably true. If you went back to all those protests to get Wenger out and said to Arsenal fans, no names, but we're going to bring, actually, if we said we're going to bring Arteta in, and what we can guarantee you is going to take a couple of years, but we'll get you back to regularly challenging for the Premier League. I think every single Gooner at that moment would have bit their hand off to get back to at least that point and then see where you go from there. And that's, we all do this as well, by the way. We all have a habit of losing perspective. And I feel like United fans now, I agree with you. If someone said to me now, Amorim goes, the next guy comes in, you're guaranteed to be in title races.
I'll take it, of course.
That. Because typically, if you're in title races for the Prem, you're a pretty good team, and then you can reassess from that point. It's like,
The problem is though, Terry. I was speaking to Dan about this the other day, right? Like they should have won it when Leicester won it, right? They came second. What was it? Twice to Man City, and then last year they were like, we all thought it's Arsenal next because City had a bad season.
Arteta wasn't the manager though, then was he? When we lost, so why are we bringing up Leicester? And look, Arsenal, right? We haven't been. Last year we was in the Champions League semi-final for the first time since 2009, right? That's 16 years, right? So don't tell me that he's not brung this club forward. We're not even in the Champions League. We've never been great in the Champions League ever, right? I can guarantee you right now. You go and check with the bookies. We'll be one of the favourites to win the Champions League, and Arteta's put us in that. And maybe I'm just an old romantic, right? But I believe, if you build something, you deserve the chance to reap the rewards for it. But he has this season for me, and he has to do it this season.
Yeah. And I asked you this the other day. Let's say Chelsea came and won it this year. How would you feel about Arteta? How would you feel about Arteta?
Yeah, that would be the final straw for me. That would be the final straw.
That would be the final straw.
Yeah, if that were to happen, then
That's the point I was trying to make. There's been a few times where you should have been next in line. And imagine this season, imagine Liverpool do fall off. Imagine Man City aren't what they are, which they aren't. And imagine imagine Chelsea jump ahead and win it. It might not happen, but it could. And there's Arsenal again finishing bridesmaids. I think that would be the final straw, wouldn't it?
Yeah, of course it would. Yeah, 100%. Because Chelsea have not won the league in how long? No, I'm just saying that they would. Chelsea have not won the league since, when was it? 2017, exactly. So, of course, 100%. If Maresca's been there, 2 seasons? If he come in and won the Premier League before Mikel Arteta, with a team that's not won anything, right? Before you say that Slot done it with a team that's won every single trophy, and it's like I keep saying, had Trent Alexander-Arnold, one of the best right backs of all time, Premier League, best centre back probably ever in the Premier League, in Van Dijk, one of the Salah top 3 players ever in the Premier League. People talking that Liverpool came out of nowhere. They didn't come out of nowhere. They'd won every single trophy going.
You do have to admit you were next in line, though, man. Finishing second so many years in a row.
Yeah, but we finished second. We finished second. One season?
Can you not admit that you were next in line? Were you shouting? We're going to win the league.
Yeah, last year we should have won the league, but we didn't invest enough. The investment we done this season, we should have done last season.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you think you were going to win the league last year? Did you think you were going to? There you go. That's what I'm saying to you. Yeah. Aaron, can I ask you something? If he did win the Carabao Cup and FA Cup, like I said, and pushed it to the final day of the season, where would you be with it?
I would say thank you for the final season, Mikel Arteta. You've given me 2 days out at Wembley. Excellent, but time to move on. Thank you for ending it on a high. I haven't waited 7 years for a Carling Cup. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that it would be a bad thing, but, when you're factoring in how much the guy's spent, the backing that he's got, the time that he's had, his 7th season at Arsenal Football Club this season, it's just not enough. I know that sounds silly, but
you would still be out.
I would say thank you. Fair enough.
What if he won the Premier League?
Yeah, then I say go and have one more crack at it. Have another crack at it next year.
One more crack. I love when he says that. I don't know if you boys have picked up on this. Like, sorry, I had to run out and just see my kids. I just got back in from, I don't know where the fuck they've been, but they got back in. I thought I'd go and say hello to the kids. That's me done.
Yeah.
That's me done dadding for the day. See you, kids. See you later. I'm off. Gotta work.
Yeah.
Who's winning the Premier League in your opinion? I'm gonna go to Dan first on this. All that being said, we've spoken about City already. We know what's going on with Liverpool. Who is winning the Premier League? Transfer window's over. The season kicks back off again in 3 days' time. Who's winning the league, Dan?
I think Arsenal's going to win the Premier League. I do think Arsenal are going to win. I think we've got the best squad now, and I think the squad's been together. We've made great investment, and listen, we've had 2 really difficult games. Over the years, if you look, there have been really hard places for us to go. We've won one of them. We've lost one of them. It's not the end of the world losing to Liverpool, right? I know what I said, right? Yeah, everyone knows what I said, but.
You said you won't lose again. You said you won't lose again.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
Won't lose again.
Listen. If you show me all the next fixtures, I would not be putting a loss in any of those fixtures.
Arsenal will not lose again in the Premier League this year. You said it.
Arsenal won't lose again in the Premier League this year.
Here we go.
Right?
Here we go.
Nottingham Forest 1, Arsenal 0, isn't it?
For me, listen, this is the thing as well, right? With everyone, right? If for me, everyone keeps saying that Arteta sets up negatives, right? He does it 2 games a season, maybe, and that is City away and Liverpool away. And if he's going to do it in them games where he's made our record from terrible to really good, that was our first loss against the Big Six in 23 games, right? So if we're going to set up 2 games a season, because not once this fake agenda, not once have I gone to the Emirates and watched Arsenal not be on the front foot in a big game against Man City, who we beat 5-1 last year, boring Arsenal. Who are boring under Arteta, beat them 5-1. Boring Arsenal, who under Arteta's Arsenal scored the most goals in the club's history, most wins in a season in the club's history, right? So this whole thing about being boring is a fake agenda, right?
All right, cool. Name all the great performances last season in the Premier League. Go.
Well, we beat City 5-1 for starters, right?
1, yeah.
That's
it. You're already scratching your head.
No, because you're putting me on the spot, innit? But listen,
18 more to go.
No, who else did we beat? I'm sure we beat Chelsea, right? We beat Chelsea at home, didn't we? We didn't lose.
Yeah, that was unbelievable performance.
We beat Man United.
I'm saying about winning, and you're saying about we're attacking
we set our record
against Brighton. We were shit against Bournemouth.
We beat Sporting
against Villa.
Right?
We were shit
beat
against
Sporting
West Ham.
Lisbon.
We were
Did
shit
we beat
against
Sporting Lisbon 5-1?
Ipswich.
Yeah.
Premier
What
League.
about PSV? What about PSV in the Champions League?
We
broke our record.
Premier League,
scoring 7 goals in an away game.
Premier League, I said.
Yeah,
we beat Real Madrid. Beat Real Madrid.
Yeah, I know we beat Real Madrid. We were
poor
last season.
Listing teams where we were nowhere near good enough.
Yeah, but Aaron, we had 27 injuries. Look, 27 injuries. Tottenham had 20. And they were Tottenham.
Aaron, let Dan finish. I'll come to you next, bruv. Sorry, go on, Dan.
Tottenham went from 5th. Yeah, Tottenham went from 5th. Yeah, they finished 5th the year before last season, right? And they had about 20 injuries, right? And they went from 5th to 17th. Arsenal had 27 injuries, the most ever in history, as Arteta rightly pointed out. And we went from 2nd to 2nd. We got 14 points less. So last season, I do, Men in Black. You see Men in Black, Blink? When you do that, that's what I do with that. Because I can't judge my team based on that season. The season before that, right, we've still got the core of that team. The only player we don't have from that team is Thomas Partey, right? That's it. Every other player. So we've got all the signings from last season, Marino, Calafiori, David Raya made them permanent, plus the 8 signings this year, right? And we finished on 89 points that season, right? With the most goals scored in the club's history, 91 goals. So people thinking that Arsenal, because in 3 games, we've only scored 6 goals, people thinking that suddenly Arsenal are not going to be there this season. They're going to be in for a shock because we'll beat Forest, we'll beat City, and once we win them 2 games, people are going to start to take notice. Gyökeres will probably score against Forest for sure.
Yeah, not City.
Yeah, listen, maybe not City, but I think he's there. How many times did we lose to West Ham? West Ham we lost at home to twice. 2 years in a row at home to West Ham. And everyone keeps saying, we didn't have the killer. And now we've got him. His link-up play is not good enough. He's not good enough on the ball. But weren't you the same fans that just said, we don't need a player like that? We don't need a Kai Havertz. We don't need a Giroud sort of player. We need a killer. Everyone's been saying that for the last, Even Gabriel Jesus, he was so good as a player, but he couldn't finish off the chances. So Gyökeres is there to finish off the chances. And in the big games, in particularly the away games, the way we set up, he's not always going to have those chances. So look, it's going to be between Arsenal and Liverpool. You know, City, I thought they might be there or thereabouts, but judging by what I've seen this season, it looks like City are going to struggle. You know, I hope Manchester United beat them on the weekend. And listen, another funny thing that everyone says is Arsenal have to win the league. Then you ask them who's going to win the league, and they say Liverpool. We say why? They say they've got the best team. They've got Isaac. They've just spent 430 million. So I'm putting my chest out there and saying I believe my club are going to do it. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be Arsenal and Liverpool neck and neck. You know, and it could all come down to injuries and who keeps their players fit. That's really what it's probably going to come down to. Because if Saka stays fit, Gabriel and Saliba stay fit, and Declan Rice, them 4 players and the keeper. So that's 5 players. If they can play the majority of the season, I'm talking 30 games of the season, then I would 100% back us to win the Premier League. You know, Liverpool, if Van Dijk gets injured and he's out for, I don't know, 4 months, they will not win the Premier League because they went from getting 97 points to finishing 5th when he got injured.
I hear you on that. Aaron, has your pick changed? I think you picked Liverpool before. Has your mind changed at all now the window's shut? What are you saying, bro?
No. Yeah. Liverpool, looking the favourites. Fair dues to them as well. 9 points out of 9. Home to Arsenal, away at Newcastle. You know, 2 good teams to get out of the way. And like I said, it's max points. I don't think they're firing on all cylinders just yet. So considering that, and they've got max points, fair dues to them. They've got, who is it next? Burnley away. They've got Everton at home. And then they've got Palace away, which sometimes they can be a little bit tricky, Palace v Liverpool. But, I mean, if they get max points there, it puts a lot of pressure on Arsenal Football Club as well, considering we've got Nottingham Forest. I expect to win there, to be fair. But I don't expect us to roll them over, but I do expect to win. And then, obviously, Manchester City at home and Newcastle away. If we can match Liverpool's points outlay within the next 3 games, I'll be very happy. But we cannot afford 4 points out of that. We can't do that. If we're going to try and keep pace with them, we can't slip behind them in these run of fixtures because we've got difficult games. If Liverpool gets 7 out of that, we've got to at least get 7 out of that. You know, we've got to match.
Liverpool will have to play these games as well, though, because you know.
Of course. But the thing is, it's early season momentum, Dan.
It is. You're right. No, you're right. Because look what happened last season. You're right. Yeah, they did. That's what I'm saying. It is scary. That's why I've always said the fixtures, they do matter. I'm telling you now, 100% they matter because it's all about momentum. And we've been United. You can laugh. You lot have got the same thing. We both draw the short straw. United and Arsenal, because you look at your fixtures. You could be in a relegation zone, and Arsenal could be out of the title race.
Mate, the fixtures are the fixtures. The fixtures are the fixtures. Like you said, everyone plays everyone.
Yeah, but you've always said, Dave, don't contradict yourself, because you've always said about momentum, right? Momentum. Leicester won the league on momentum. So it does make a difference.
Momentum is important, bro. But you've just said earlier that you've got an established team. You've got. Let me ask you a question. If I could ask you to handpick your first 5 fixtures in the Premier League, who would you pick? Of course,
I'd pick the 5 worst teams in the league. You know,
of course, but you've just listed out a bunch of players. You've just listed out a bunch of players that are established for Arsenal. If they don't get injured, you win the league. Surely the fixtures don't really matter that much, man, when you're at that level. You guys are solid. You've got the best defense in the league.
They're not fit right now, are they? Saliba's out.
No, but that's where you've done well in the transfer window, and you've got players to replace them right away, right?
Of course, but these players, look, again, this is why no one has any sort of patience at all. We're talking about players that have just come in. Like even the Vert slander is just silly. They've won all 3 games. All right, he's not scored, but are we just looking at stats here? You know, he's probably created chances. From what I've seen, he's not looked nowhere near as bad as what people have said. Same with Zubimendi. But if you're winning, like right now, if Arsenal had beat Liverpool, no one's talking all this nonsense, are they? You know what I mean? And that game could have went either way. It was based. It takes 2 people. It takes 2 people to play a game. Yeah, but it takes 2 people to play a game of chess, doesn't it? Right? So
I just feel like we got 2 what if guys at the top and two it is what it is guys at the bottom. They didn't, Dan. That's it.
Yes, but the thing is though, right? Listen, surely Liverpool, they should have been the team attacking more, right? At home being defending champions. But they weren't.
But then
they didn't want to lose the game either.
I said this, Liverpool, right? Sorry, Dave.
Go for it.
In the last 10 years, right, I've seen us at Liverpool via Arsenal at Anfield, right? I've seen us last season go 2-0 down, 2-2. They won the Premier League. Who cares? Yeah. and then 2 really good battling games in the previous 2 years, both of which we went 1-0 up, 2-0 up, and unfortunately conceded goals and we drew. And then from that sort of point, 3 years and onwards, we were getting absolutely battered, taking the piss out of. So I feel confident in making this point now that when I watch 65, 70 minutes of that Liverpool game, I have never seen a poorer there for the taking Liverpool side for that 60, 70 minutes. For Arsenal, I thought they were there for the taking. The problem is we were just as shit. And that's where this frustration stems. We had a great opportunity, a great chance to go there and do something against the Liverpool side that played probably the poorest against Arsenal in the last decade.
See, I don't disagree with a lot of what you said there, barring I don't think it was 2 poor sides. I think it was 2 very good sides.
Exactly, that cancelled each other out.
Reminded me of the golden era.
One shot,
everyone keeps saying to me,
I remember
you know what I keep hearing?
Let
me say this, you know what I keep hearing, guys? I keep hearing you have to go to Anfield and win if you want to win the Premier League. Can I ask a question? How many times did Pep Guardiola win there? In 10 attempts.
But Pep Guardiola's won. He's won
10 attempts, and he's still got 6 Premier League titles.
He's won it though, Dan.
Yeah, and he won it.
What you guys have done.
Hang on. But David, if again, he has won it, but he won it without winning at Anfield.
Exactly.
So therefore, the notion that you have to win at Anfield to win the league is incorrect.
Exactly.
But again, context again. No, hold on. Let me context
Not
again,
not on this show, but yeah.
Terry, you'll appreciate this analogy, yeah. And the reason I think it comes into this is Arsenal have finished second however many times, yeah. And sometimes in boxing, you got a boxing background, Terry. To beat the champ, you got to knock the champ out. You got to go for it. And I feel like Arsenal have been bridesmaids for so long now that they need to knock out the champ. They need to send a message. And they didn't. They went there. They went there for a points decision, bruv. That's what they went there for, right? They didn't go there for a knockout. And I'm not trying to turn this into boxing. This is the Football Terrace. But it really does fit. You went there for a draw, bruv, or maybe nick a 1-0. And sometimes in tight affairs, when you've been bridesmaids for this long, you need to knock out the champ. And you haven't got the manager that wants to knock out the champ. That's what I'm saying.
I get your point there. I wanted to ask you something, David. You said something about what ifs they didn't win, the what ifs versus the what happens.
Yeah, I love it.
And you said, no, I get that. But then you said, I want to know what you mean, not by what ifs. I get that. You said Arsenal didn't win there, and that's it. End of story. The what ifs mean nothing. What do you mean by it's end of story?
Well, is it not end of story for Arsenal? The Premier League's a long. Them losing at Anfield is not going to be the be all and end all. But I think we can all agree that the standard in the Premier League now, that even losing a game is a massive deal now in the Premier League, just from the standard that Pep set, that Klopp set. And I feel like, Aaron just said it now, you need to at least equal their points over the next few games to stay in touch with them. How are we talking about that so early?
Okay,
there was time. So
this is where the what if element, I think, plays into exactly what you've said. Because it isn't end of story, as in the league title race isn't over, which you've just said. 1 minute, you're also saying that you have to go there and knock out the champs. The next minute, you're saying it's not the be all and end all and the league isn't over. That feels like a contradiction to me.
It does. But the truth is, mate, I don't think Arsenal will win the Premier League.
Well, but that's fine. That's so again. So it is the be all and end all, and it's over then for you.
It is, but listen, you can't say it's over after 3 games, can you? Yeah.
But David, this is the challenge against the analysis, because the analysis and the breakdown is that's it. It's done. It can't be done. It implies that it's done and it's dusted. And this is why the what ifs are important for me. The what ifs, the maybes, the stats, because I didn't watch Arsenal in that game and go, that shows me 100% categorically they can't win the league because it didn't go to Anfield and they didn't batter him or they didn't score enough goals. I criticise him, by the way. If people watch my match reaction, don't think they attacked well and they didn't take enough risks in the attack and should have brought the subs on.
Do you think Arsenal are going to win the league? Do you think Arsenal are going to win the league, Terry?
No, but I don't think it's because of what happened at Liverpool.
Okay, had they won 4-0 at Anfield, would part of you change your opinion on that?
I wouldn't. Liverpool would still be my favourites.
You're kind of drifting the question there, though. I hear what you're saying, but part of you would be like, hang on a minute.
They would have
Arsenal just sent a massive message.
Yes, they would have sent a massive message. At the same time, though, that wouldn't make me completely change my mind, because, like you've just said, Premier League titles are not won in the first 3 games. If, for instance, 4 games to go, 5 games to go, close on points, go there and win 4-0, go 2 points ahead. That for me is a very different scenario because it's in the title race. So from my point of view, I look at it along the lines of, I think the criticism of Arsenal in that game should have made the subs earlier. I think the players should have taken more risks in the attacking areas. But I do think, again, there has been an exaggeration in terms of that's it. It's over. It's end of story.
Last question from me on that, Terry. Do you think for Arsenal to win the Premier League, they almost have to have a perfect season?
No, I think the team that's going to actually.
You don't think so?
No, I'll tell you why. Because it's not about Arsenal actually this year. It's more about. So this is going to upset some Liverpool fans. It's going to upset all City fans. The 100 high 90-point seasons were amazing. They were brilliant teams. Those teams could have won leagues in any other season in the Prem they played in. Yeah. But I still think the reason those teams are bringing in that amount of points is because I think the chasing pack didn't exist. There wasn't a chasing pack. So when you go back to the peak Wenger, Fergie, Jose, you throw in the Rafa Benitez's of this world, every season, all four of those teams are considered title contenders. All of them you never predicted one of those teams would win the Champions League and got laughed at because they were all that good. Europe was deeper and stronger. And that was a great barometer of how good those teams were. You then had the chasing pack of the top four, the Tottenhams and the Aston Villas and the Leeds a little bit earlier on. There's all these teams that were there pushing you. People go, 100 points means the best team ever. I get the argument and it holds water. But imagine taking, by the way, with bigger substitute benches and bigger squads, imagine going back to some of those brilliant teams, like what Wenger had, what Jose had, what Fergie had, where there's one team challenging them for the league title or no teams, and the chasing pack and the standard being so much lower than that period. Those teams could have quite easily got to the late 90s, equally in that era. And you boys all know this because your team won league titles. You won a league title with 5, 6, 7 games to go. You're already on 80-odd points. You barely won a game for the rest of the season because you stopped trying. So I look at it I use that as an example because I think this season we've gone back to a little bit more old school. You're going to have Liverpool, I think, will win the league. Arsenal are going to chase them hard. I think Chelsea are there or thereabouts. City, I'm in an R in. I need to see the next couple of games. The last 2 matches, I thought, fuck me, I didn't realize. I thought they'd be much better than what I've seen in the last 2 games. Let's see what they're doing. But the chasing pack, I think we all know that once they settle and get their players in, the Newcastles, I think Tottenham are going to be a much more dangerous team this year. These sides are all capable. Palace can do it. Bournemouth have shown they can do it. They're all going to take points off the teams trying to win the title. That is going to make it so that no one's going to be perfect, so you don't need to be perfect. I think the team that wins the league this year does it between 82 to 85 points, which is still very good, by the way. But I don't think you need to be perfect because I see everybody taking points. Where you're going to have to be good is you're going to have to take your chances when they arrive. So there could be a moment where Liverpool are sitting on 60 points. Oh, my God, they've gone away to Palace and Palace took a draw. Arsenal were now 2 points behind them, but they're at home to Burnley, right? And these games might not be in order. I'm making them up. You must win that game and take the initiative. I wouldn't call that being perfect, but I think it's seizing the opportunities. The team that wins the league will be the side that does that seizes those little doors that are left ajar. I don't think they're going to have to get 95, 100 points to win the league.
I think Arsenal got to be near perfect to win it. That's what I think. I don't know what Aaron thinks, but...
So you don't think Liverpool are going to lose then? Any games?
I think Liverpool might lose 2 games. They look solid, mate. I mean, they're winning without
Arsenal
playing well.
only lost 4 games last season, so
drew 14, though.
Yeah, I know we drew 14.
Yeah.
We only lost
because we shit ourselves going forward. That's what I'm saying. If we're so good attacking, why are we drawing 14 games?
Because our attackers were injured. We didn't have a striker. We didn't have our best player.
Why?
Well, I don't know why. Because they got injured. How does anyone know why? They got injured, didn't they?
Because the manager runs them into the ground. It was only a matter of time.
Here we go.
It was a matter of time. Of course it is. If you look at the minutes, all the players this squad had kept together from 22, 23, 23, 24, 24, 25, we are significantly, the first 13 players on the team sheet have significantly higher minutes than that of Manchester City and that of Liverpool because the squad rotation is absolutely dire at Arsenal. So, of course, it's inevitable that these players are going to keep getting these injuries because for 2-3 years, they've been ran into the ground, barely subbed off, barely rotated. So, of course, it was waiting to happen. And now look what you get. Yeah, that's your opinion. That's your opinion.
No.
But when you've got a manager that's playing Declan Rice with a broken toe, he's pushing Thomas Partey back on the field. He's rushing every single player that is anywhere near back early. Saka.
What do you
back
think of
early,
the
rush back.
Saliba, the
Everyone's
Saliba
getting rushed back.
situation the other day? The Saliba
Oh.
situation.
No, but I'm
against
sorry.
Liverpool.
I'm sorry.
Exactly. The thing is, no, one second, let me
do
finish this.
you work for
Finish this.
Arsenal?
The Bill
Are you
Saliba
working? Are
one,
you part of the backroom staff?
Aaron, speak for a second. Go on, Aaron.
The Bill Saliba one, yeah. I don't care what any of you say. He knew that before a ball was kicked. It was the manager's decision. It's unarguable. The manager chose to still start him. That's the manager's fault. It's not bad luck. He could have not put Saliba out there in that starting lineup. He chose to. That's his fucking fault. That's his decision, and it backfired like many of the other ones have. Timber's coming out and going, did you read the Timber? I'm sure you read, because none of you boys like to talk about the Timber thing, where he come out and basically said, yeah, Arteta's plan is all fucked. You don't. No one likes to talk about that. Look at the Timber. Just come out, have a little look at it, Tel. I can't quite. I don't want to misquote it, but go and have a little look at the Timber.
When did it come out so I can find it?
Timber. About 3 months ago, 2 months ago.
The thing is, though,
blimey.
you are the same fan that would turn around if he didn't play Saliba and say, you know what? I would have played Saliba. I would have played Saliba even 50% fit. What's Arteta doing?
So this is where you talk bollocks, mate. This is where you're talking bollocks. Because I wouldn't be that, because he got injured in training. Why would I say that? He got injured before the lineup. Why would I go, oh, we should play? No, I didn't. Because if I'm that pro against his injury, then by definition of everything I've just said, I would actually rest him. So you're not listening to
if we lost that game. No, I am. But if we lost that game 4-0, if we lost that game 4-0, maybe not you, but a lot of fans. If we lost to Liverpool 4-0 and Saliba, there was a chance for him to play, and Arteta come out in the interview and said he was only 50% fit, didn't want to risk it, and we lost 4-0, I can guarantee you there'll be uproar saying I'd rather have 50% Saliba than a.
What do you think he should have done? What do you think? Well,
everything in hindsight is obviously easy now to sit there and go, he shouldn't have played him.
But what do you think? What do you think should have been done?
If it was down to me, I'd play him. I want to get my best players on the pitch.
Okay, so you agree with what Arteta did?
Yeah, I'm going to take the chance for sure.
But you can't see. So you agree with him, but you can't see why Arteta risks
has so many injuries
when you literally are just pro that. Like, that's madness.
No.
Needed surgery. Ben White needed surgery at the start of the season. Timber barely played a minute before coming back. Oh yeah, he came out, he got injured against Nottingham Forest. Oh yeah, and he got pushed back out there in the field again. Oh yeah, ACL. And then he fucking plays him for the whole entire last season.
Thing is, though,
the whole entire Ben White's injured. I could keep going on with exactly how he's rushed players back and played players through injuries.
There's a
and everyone's
team.
Like, it was just unlucky. No,
there's a medical team. There's a whole medical team.
Let's just go back to Dan for a moment. Go on, Dan.
Listening to
there's a whole medical team and Arteta and physios and people who deal with injuries and all of that. But it's all on Arteta, right? They would not play a player if he was. They have so much technology now, red zone, all of that sort of stuff.
Why don't he listen to it then?
There is no because he does listen to it. The players that they're playing, they're clearly all right. They've just been unlucky with injuries. Everyone kept saying Saka, hamstring's gone. It's the other leg.
Unlucky
Yeah,
but we all know with injuries like that.
No.
Guys, let me just jump in.
Injuries,
guys,
the same ones that got grade 3 hamstring injuries.
Aaron,
shock that are fucking injured this year.
Guys, let me just jump in for a second. Guys, I want to ask a question. It is fairly well sourced from sports, from athletes themselves in their autobiographies through to research that's been done, that the vast majority of athletes play with knocks, bruises, minor injuries, sprains. It's almost impossible to find a professional athlete
perfect,
at a major tournament without a knock. And it's literally, I think Alcaraz or one of the tennis players at the US Open, this person's got a little injury. And I think he just said something along the lines of, every single one of us is out with an injury. So because this is where I'm on the fence with this, because I see it from both sides. As a football fan, when a player's played with a knock, with a sprain, but says I'm okay, and then it goes wrong, we do blame the manager for doing it. At the same time, when's the cutoff point where we go, that's an acceptable risk to take? And I get what you're saying. If he does it in the warm-up, maybe don't play him. But the fact that it's so well documented that most athletes play on the edge of an injury because of how hard they push themselves. At what point where's the limit to where we start blaming the manager and don't blame him? Because surely we as fans, if we're going to start casting this either way, there's got to be a limit where you say, well, if every player's playing with a knock that could get worse because of bruise, you work in the personal training injury, you know how these things escalate. Where is the limit where we say that's acceptable and where's over the limit? Because surely as fans, we should be setting those standards, standards, because this is what I find hard.
That's where the medical staff come in. It's got to be
Right.
Terry, right? But where I put some blame on Arteta, I don't know if he's made that decision or not. We don't. Yeah, but according to Aaron, it is him that's made that decision. I don't know.
Well, he picks the team. He picks the team, not the medical staff.
But does he know how hurt Saliba is? What has the medical staff told him? We don't know those conversations. However, when you've had, what was it, Dan, 27 injuries last year? I think you should take more precautions.
The season before last, we had the least injuries. The season before last, hence we got to 89 points and took the title to the last day.
But we can only go off. We can only go off last year
with injuries.
People get older, people have more miles on the clock, so we can only go off the injuries last year. Once injuries happen, they're there. We've all twisted our ankles. Once you twist your ankle once, I
remember Thierry Henry in the season we went unbeaten, and we just went out in the Champions League to Chelsea, and we just went out to you lot in Man United in the FA Cup, and we were losing to Liverpool, right? And Thierry Henry scored that famous, I think it was a hat-trick at home to Liverpool. We beat him 4-2. That Thierry Henry was 50% fit. And everyone knew it.
But you just said
he played, and there's not one Arsenal fan. If you ask them, should we not play him? They would say yes, play him. Right?
One sec, Dan. You just said you lost the title. You lost the title last year due to injuries. Yeah, correct. That's what you said.
Well, listen, but who knows, isn't it?
I mean, as in you feel like that.
But there was a big drop off. We didn't lose the title because of that. We finished 14 points. We finished 14 points less than the season before.
The point I'm trying to make is it had a massive impact on your chances of winning the title. Meaning, should the manager take extra precautions now when players have niggles? I think the answer to that is yes. I don't think he should be playing Saliba.
Not when you're playing Liverpool at Anfield away.
David?
Can I just add this just very quickly, Tel?
Go on.
From my side of how I look at things, I'm totally not blaming Mikel Arteta for absolutely everything. I'm just including him and saying there is absolute blame on his side. The problems that I've got with fans like Dan is they're like, no, absolutely not Mikel Arteta. No way. It's just bad luck. That is literally it. Nothing else. It's just bad luck. How dare we blame Mikel Arteta? Couldn't have been him. Absolutely not. Literally not even open to the idea that maybe he just has fucked up quite a few times. That's madness to me that you're so defensive of the geezer. Like, how can you say for 100% sure that
I see it the other way around. That if anything happens, it's all Arteta's fault. It's never anyone else's fault. It's all Arteta's.
Well, the reason I asked this, let's go to David for a second. So you just said there, if the players have got a niggle, don't play them. So this is where I get your point, but you've also agreed that nearly every single athlete carries one. So
what I'm saying is it's got to be measurable. It's got to be measurable. And you asked the question. None of us are medical teams and staff to know what that measure is. That measure lies with the medical staff. All I'm saying is the manager should be having even more conversations than he was having last year with the medical staff to say and ask the question you just asked, Terry. Guys, where are we going to put this measure here? Because I'm really worried we're going to lose the Premier League again because of injuries.
I hear that. And look, do you know, I think it's interesting. Some players have spoke about this at all clubs. You know, I needed an injury, but I needed a surgery, and I put it off because my manager wanted me to play. And again, I always think it comes down to how you feel about a manager. If you love the manager and you're winning trophies, I don't think fans care that much about the bodies of these players. I think when we dislike a manager and or we're not winning trophies, we start to look at that as a cruel way to treat people. I think we, including myself, are very fickle in that. Let's go to see some of these super chats. There's someone from earlier, actually, that I didn't get round to them all, actually. I've actually forgot them. Sorry, guys. He says, why is everyone obsessed with Amorim not watching penalties? Fergie never watched penalties. What's the big deal?
Fergie won trophies. Until this guy wins trophies, he can do what he wants. He can't. When he wins major trophies, he could do whatever he wants. Until then, you have to earn your stripes, mate, like anything else in the world.
So behavior is okay. So if he wins the Prem and then the next year turns his back on penalties, you're fine with it.
No problem. Enjoy yourself. Do whatever you want, pal. You've earned it. Earn stripes in the world, Terry. You know that. Everyone knows that. You've got to earn stripes in the world. You don't get nothing given to you. And if you're not getting results, people start nitpicking what you're doing. Same way when you are getting results and you're amazing, they start figuring out, oh my God, why is Pep playing John Stones in midfield? Oh my God, why is Pep playing inverted? Everyone starts copying. I tell you what, if Amorim wins the treble next season, no manager will look at penalties anymore, and fair play. You know what I'm saying? But until then, watch the fucking penalties, you mug. You look like you're shaking like a leaf.
But if you win the trophy and then doesn't watch the penalties, and that's okay because you won the trophy, well, then that behavior isn't bad. Then that behavior isn't detrimental inherently, is it? So
Well,
what's the point of being angry at it?
It's all about context. The team is struggling. The team is struggling, and you need the manager to look like he's there with them, right? When the team's winning and has won loads of trophies, you don't have to look at the penalties. The boys have got this. The boys know what they're doing. Do whatever you want.
What essentially you're confirming, it isn't what someone does you have a problem with in life. It's who's doing it.
No, that's not what I'm confirming. What I'm confirming.
It is. No, it is, Dave.
What do you mean?
You said that.
It's not
You
what
said
he's
that as
doing,
well.
it's
Like,
who's doing it. You're okay.
Guardiola
You would be okay with the
Jose, they've
serial
won
winner
stuff.
doing
Yeah,
it, but not
because-
someone who hasn't won yet.
Do you understand the saying, earn stripes? Do you guys all understand that?
Yeah, of
Or
course.
do you
Right.
not?
Yeah,
Do you not-
okay, hang on a minute, hang on. Because just because
That's what you're saying.
just because I'm a decorated police officer, that doesn't mean I can beat someone up with a baton who isn't warranted because I've earned my stripes.
Oh.
There's still certain behaviours that you can't do no matter how much you've won. Equally, there's good things you can do, or there's things that are. By the way, I want him to watch the penalties. I'm just trying to ascertain how far do you take this. What is he not allowed to do because he hasn't won the Premier League yet versus someone who has?
When he didn't watch the penalties, why do you think he didn't watch the penalties? The guy knew, oh my God, if he misses this, I'm done for. Right? And it just shows where we're at and where the manager's emotions
What I
at.
will say is you can go back and watch penalties from well into the early part of last season when the pressure isn't on. What he typically does, he normally crouches down, looks at the floor. He never watches them. Sporting fans, they never watch the penalties when he was winning the league titles over there as well. That's my only thing with this. If he's never watched them, I do get the point that's being made.
All I'm saying is you have to earn stripes in life, in my opinion. And once you earn those stripes, there's a bit more leeway with your behavior. That's all I'm saying.
So you'd be okay with Wally with the Brolly if he'd have won the World Cup?
Correct.
So you are confirming it's not who does it, it's who they are. Not what they do, it's who they are. That's fair. It's fair.
It's all right. Anyway, we'll move on. But all I'm saying is if you've
Carlo
achieved things...
Ancelotti, if he does it, it's all right? Ancelotti can look the
Of
other way.
course, he could do
that's
it
what
with a
we're saying.
cigar in his mouth.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's
And
not the
it's-
behavior, it's who's doing it.
It's not the behavior, it's who's doing it. Okay, good point. But do you see why I feel that way?
No, I can see why. I get
Yeah.
your point, and I understand where you're coming from.
I don't
just
dislike Amorim. I just don't think he's that good. That's all.
No, it's fine.
then-
It's fine.
That's
But-
it. Yeah.
But I look at things a little differently from that. I sort of view behavior as yes. So you someone that believes. I bet you do say yes to this. I bet I'm gonna.
Let's go, baby.
Actually, you and Dan know each other well, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Since
Dan
school
answered,
days.
Dan answered me first. Is David someone who believes that respect is earned?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. See, I'm the other way. I give respect before you've earned it, and you can lose the respect from me. So that's just where me and Dave see the world different. I never met you, Dave, until a few weeks ago. I will give you as much respect as humanly possible the first second I meet you. You don't need to earn my respect. As a human being, I'm going to treat you with respect. What you could then do is lose my respect. It's fair that some people are the other way, where they're like, I'll give you courtesy, but I'm not going to give you respect until you earn it. I'm the other way. I'll give the respect straight away.
Well
then
said.
you
You just
lose it.
fixed what I was going to say. I'm very nice to everyone I meet, and I will give them courtesy and benefit of the doubt. Everyone's amazing, you know. But the truth is, yes, I have 1 foot behind me, 1 foot in front of me. That is the truth. Yeah, with everyone I meet.
I get that. Beard man, this is not FIFA. Keep your pants on. Okay.
Blimey. All right, Avram Glazer.
As far as standards go, standards should be upheld by the new players, need to be given time to reach the standard. The question is, how much time? Well, I'll give you, I'll also make a prediction. People won't ever want to set a standard or a time or give a time limit because people want to be able to, again, because it's about who the person is and not what they're doing, nobody will want to set a standard time, because then they're going to be, ironically, to do with respect, they're then going to be upheld to that standard. So no one likes to create a metric that we all use. People just like to pick and choose depending upon the person. So you're never going to get that standard universalized. We beat Real Madrid home 3-0 and away 2-1 with Mourinho, for fuck's sake. You can criticize Arteta, but he is a real adaptable, if not elite, amazing manager.
Well said. Well said.
I think that's when Aaron asked how many
games. Why does no one else want him then? Why does no one else want him?
I can guarantee there would be a big queue for him. If probably
in the second division of Spain. Yeah,
no way.
I'm only joking. Don't worry. Keep your knickers on, chat. Don't worry.
In fairness, Aaron's been on the show a long time. Aaron has earned his stripes. He can make a joke. He's earned his stripes.
Exactly, Terry. Exactly, Terry.
Terry, would you throw Lammens in goal? I personally would, but I don't know if the club will, because of people like David. That's a joke, ladies and gentlemen. I've earned my stripes. I can tell these jokes.
Yes.
How many away teams bop it about at Anfield? Not many.
None. Zero.
Not many. No.
Knock out the champs like 5-1 against City. They did do that last year, to be fair.
We did.
In
spectacular fashion.
You've named 2. Well done.
Did Fergie always go away to win games? Pragmatically, yes.
Stripes, baby, stripes.
Fergie against Arsenal, even with your greatest team with Tevez, Rooney, and Ronaldo, you still play counter-attack at the Emirates. That's a fact.
What is this message? Call blimey.
Terry, you're I'm not a gangster, but I'm just the dad. Cold-blooded.
Yes.
No, I'm not actually. I'm not a snake. I'm the opposite. There's a lot of rumors, but I'm all right. Really, I think. But when Man City and Liverpool were challenging for the Premier League, they went there to win. Arsenal didn't go there to win. That's a difference.
I agree.
No, there's times Fergie would take a draw loads of times. The man said it himself.
Yeah, times have changed, though. Times have changed, man.
They've not changed. They've not.
I think they have. Well, we had this discussion. I think they have. Of course they have. The points that people get to nowadays, times have changed.
Well, the point I would make is
you would have won the Premier League how many times, Dan, in Fergie's era with the points that you achieved?
Yeah.
How many Premier Leagues would you have won by now? So that proves that the times have changed.
Yeah, of course the times have changed, but I'm saying going to Liverpool away, had we got a point, would have been a fantastic point. That will never change.
It'd have been a decent point. Yeah, I think that's hard.
What I'd love to run.
Yeah. But we didn't draw.
We didn't.
Someone could probably do AMT. Do this thing on Chat GTP or something, but how many of the last 10 champions have won away from home to the team that challenged them, came second? I'd love to know how many have actually done that. It'd be an interesting stat.
Do you know what I will say just quickly before you move
zero,
on? Zero,
probably.
What I will say is Arsenal Football Club massively needed a cheeky little win there. Could you imagine what it would have done for the confidence of the players?
Point. I said
and
that
the belief
earlier.
Exactly that it would have given. So whilst it wouldn't have been imperative mathematically that we go there and we win, otherwise we don't win the league. But
it would have been massive.
The difference it would have made.
Yes.
People like me would have gone, wow. But even if it was a bad performance or whatever, you'd have gone, wow, okay. That's
Dan would have come on the show. Dan would have come on the show and gone, we're the greatest team of all time.
Told you.
We're the fucking Arsenal.
The fucking Arsenal. Come on.
I told you we're getting invincible.
That's all he ever voiced knows me. We're Arsenal. We're fucking Arsenal.
What message would it have sent out as well? You know, Slot would have looked there and probably gone, wow, do you know what? Okay, Arsenal were here. Guardiola would have probably gone,
I missed this comment from. I'll do this one in a minute. I missed this comment from earlier that said, Terry, you say that standards, like fans, like demanding high standards doesn't impact the team. But how do you know this? Well, it's a theory. I've said it. I've never claimed it to be a fact. I put out. It's a theory. I think that you need to be balanced in this. I think being too aggressive, too over the top, too angry all the time isn't going to help your team. I don't think it's going to help your team. Equally, I think being too soft isn't going to help your team. I'm somewhere in the middle because I think most of the time in life, and most of you should agree with this, I think is balance is often key. Sometimes you've got to be really firm with your kids. Sometimes you're going to be a bit nicer with your kids. Sometimes you've got to have clients, you're a personal trainer. Some of your clients, I've really got to blast them because they're being lazy. Other times you think, if I go a bit too hard, they might quit because they're on the edge here. You've got to be able to balance these things up. And I think a monolithic, one-size-fits-all approach in life is a very crass
I
way
agree.
to live. Personally,
I agree.
I do think that. But what I will say is this: the people that have really high standards, like David, and this is the prediction that are like the manager can only do these things when he earns his stripes. A lot of people like that. If Amorim does turn it around this year, wins a trophy, gets us back into the Champions League, if it would happen, would say, when people go, "Oh, you were wrong, David," a lot of people would do this. No, it's because I had high standards. He listened to them. Now look how good we are. And that's the bit where I think people get a little taken aback, because it's ironic that all the behaviors and all the mannerisms and all the coaching techniques and everything he did led to that success, but yet it was the moaning about them that made it actually work. There's just an irony. And I'm not saying you would do that, but a lot of football fans in the social media world get a little frustrated at that, where they're like, hang on, you slagged it off for a year, 2 years, then it paid off what you didn't think it would, and you're trying to claim victory in it. Because if the club listened to you, they'd have got rid of him. I think that's where people in the debate space get frustrated.
My reaction to that would be, I'm in utter shock that he's pulled this off, and I'd hold my hands up and say, fantastic work, well done, mate. But that's the truth. But we won't know that until it happens, right? We'll see.
No, I hear. No, listen. No, and I agree. And I was only using you as an example. People, I'm not saying you would do it, because I've no proof that you would. But I've seen people out there that literally go, yes, because the club listened to my standards. Or they didn't, did they? Because you were asking them to sack the manager. It's about. I think with these conversations, it's about people being honest. Like, I did a video last night about how wrong I was about Onana. And it's funny. A lot of people are like, "Oh, well done for being fair," and and I was like, "Yeah, it's cool, it's fine." Like I'm always going to be fair as much as I can on these things. Some people in the comment section, they were really angry that I admitted I was wrong, and I still don't know why. I still don't understand what they were so angry with me about. Honestly, it was one of the weirdest moments of my life, that like YouTube, social media life, reading it, going, "What, you're angry that I've admitted I was wrong?" I didn't really understand it. Very, very frustrated. It was indeed. So Sol here says, also think the players have to be held to account. They are getting way too much of a pass. Managers can set up up to the players to perform.
Agreed. Of course. 100%. Especially some of them United players.
Yeah, but the buck always falls at the manager, you know?
Yeah.
It does, isn't it? That's just how it goes. It's never going to change, is it? Like, and a lot of these players are his players, right? That he's had a say in getting them in. And if they're not performing...
Not many of them. He's only had one transfer window.
Yeah, well, mate, he's just bought a whole new strike force, mate.
Yeah. We've had 3 games.
But what I'm saying is, if these players continue not to put their chances away, the buck is still going to stop at the manager and say, listen, you chose these guys, you and whoever else.
They will score goals, though, for sure.
Well, yeah, you feel like that because you're very comfortable. You feel like that because you're comfortable, but I'm not comfortable that they'll score goals. I'm not. Sesko looks like he was bought from Tesco. That's it, bruv. Like, Højlund, we shouldn't have got rid of him, I don't think.
There's a worry about Sesko, but the other two, Cunha and Mbeumo, they'll definitely get goals. They will.
Ever sprained your ankle before? Sometimes it goes away within minutes and sometimes it takes weeks. Stop this agenda-driven nonsense. I did a ligament in my knee. It really hurt for about an hour. Then it kind of felt like it was fine. I didn't feel it again for 2 or 3 days, and then it came. That was a bad one. That was the MCL. It was only a tear, to be fair. It wasn't a complete rupture, but that was a weird one. This guy keeps saying Fergie this, Fergie that. Question: Has Fergie ever played 4 centre-backs and 3 DMs versus a rival? Bro, you're a Man United fan, you claim to be. Well, you know that very famously we beat Arsenal, where we only had 2 attacking outfield players on the pitch in Chicharito and Hernandez. The rest of the team was made up. The rest of the team was made up of 8 outfield defenders in the team, with Rafael da Silva, Fabio da Silva, and O'Shea playing central midfield, and we beat them. Plus the Champions League final against Chelsea, we started the game with 3 sixes in Scholes, Hargreaves, and Carrick. And we played with 3 centre-backs and
Terry.
a defender.
Straight facts.
So when you say these things, this is why I can't go in on managers.
Who are the DMs? Who are the DMs?
So we started the game with Hargreaves, Carrick, and Scholes by then in his career had become a deeper player. This is my issue, right? This is why I don't go in so much on certain things. It isn't about, siding with Arteta. It's if I start saying that's wrong, anti-football, people are going to start pulling up things that Fergie did and go, well, you must think Fergie's anti-football. I'm not going to say anything that, 1, I don't believe, and 2, is going to tarnish tarnish the reputation of the greatest manager of all time, just a point score against Arsenal. No disrespect to Arsenal.
Yeah.
You don't mean enough for me to shit on my own manager's legacy, to shit on your manager. Fergie started fucking six, seven outfield defensive-minded players in a Champions League final. We went on to win it because that's what he did. Like, come on now. Let's just stop bullshit. Oh, you didn't know your own club's history. Shut up. If you don't know your own club's history.
Is this the same Marino DM, the same Marino who played up top last year, just scored a hat-trick for Spain, playing as an attacking midfielder? Declan Rice has not been a centre defensive midfielder for 2 seasons now. The only one who was playing back like that was Zubimendi. So I don't know where everyone's getting this 8 defenders from. They're not.
But Dan, you predicted the lineup. Dan,
midfield, is it?
Huh?
What you just labelled, is it an attacking midfield then? Would you say?
Oh yeah, well Bryce has been playing as a box to box.
So you reckon Bryce, Zubimendi, and Marino
it's not an attacking midfield.
Is an attacking midfield?
It's not an attacking midfield, but it certainly is not 3 DMs. It's certainly not, because would Marino have been playing as a striker last season if he was a defender? No, he wouldn't have. He's just
that was your third choice,
right?
Dan, that was your third choice lineup, right? I saw your video. That was your third choice lineup. Yeah. So why is the manager going with your third choice lineup? I'm not.
No, that wasn't my third choice. I gave the 3 options, and that was the third one I went with because it was.
Third option.
Yeah, it was the less likely one. It was the less likely one.
Why was that the third option for you? Do you think?
Because Odegaard wasn't fit, and because Eze had just signed for the club.
But why wasn't that the first option?
I want to ask Aaron a question. Would you start Marino? Would you start Marino this weekend after just scoring 4 goals in 2 games for Spain, hat-trick as well? Would you start?
Did he do that for Arsenal?
No, but I'm saying
he stunk the place out at Anfield for his last game, so I couldn't really give a toss what he done for Spain against fucking whoever. I don't even care.
Turkey.
Has he done it in midfield for Arsenal? Name me one midfield performance where he's done it for Arsenal, not as a striker. No, you can't. He hasn't done it. So that's the point. No, I wouldn't start him because he's not good enough.
Boys, lads, I want to thank you, man, for coming on. I really do appreciate it a lot. Do me a big favor, everybody, and hit the like button before you go if you haven't done so already. Make sure you are subscribing to the channel as well. Very, very important to us that you get that done, and turn on the bell notification button that's next to it. Dan, David, Aaron, always a pleasure, boys. It gets heated, but it's fun. I enjoyed it. I know the viewers did as well. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you soon. Peace.